Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. And like I mentioned earlier, I've been trying to watch a lot of the Disney animated and non-animated films or live-action movies. That's what you're supposed to call them. Most of which I haven't watched in a very long time. Some which I have seen maybe only once, and some which I've never watched before, like this one. This is a Disney animated film from 2002. I hadn't even heard about it before, and that's because it was a flop. But I enjoyed it quite a bit. This one's called Treasure Planet. It's from 2002, and it stars the voice of Joseph Gordon-Levitt. And the next person that I hear, and I was so sure it was this person, I had to pause the movie and go and check and see. Yes, it is David Hyde Pierce, Niles Crane from Frasier, and Martin Short, Emma Thompson, Brian Murray, Laurie Metcalf as well, and a couple of others. So this is basically set in a futuristic universe where a lot of aliens and humans have intermingled. They have spent time on different planets. Humans live on various planets. So on the planet Montresor, there's a young man named Jim Hawkins who is enchanted by tales of pirates, Captain Nathaniel Flint, and basically ships that see. They're like ships, but they you go out in space. So there's this mysterious planet and loot that's available on something called Treasure Planet. It's supposed to be a myth. 12 years later, the boy and his mother are struggling to make an earning, and she runs a small inn. And he is kind of like aloof and a little bit of a troublemaker. He tries to help his mother, but she's really struggling because he gets into trouble quite a lot. And their only main friend is like a dog-like animal, a dog-like alien named Delbert Doppler, who is voiced by by David Hyde Pierce, DHP. So one night a spaceship crashes near the inn, and the dying pilot, Billy Bones, gives Jim a spear and tells him that beware of the cyborg. And a gang of pirates try to raid the inn, but they manage to escape. They go to Doppler's house, and from there they discover that the sphere is a holographic projector containing a star map leading to the treasure planet. So they decide to go. Sarah, his mother, decides to stay back. Jim and Doppler, they go and gather funds, and they decide that they're going to hire a ship with the captain and go and try to find the treasure island. That way they can get money to help all of them out and take care of the inn as well. So they commission the RLS Legacy, which is basically like a regular ship, but it can go out in space, which is funny. How do they breathe? It's commanded by the feline captain Amelia, voiced by Emma Thompson, and Emma Thompson and Doppler later become like a romantic interest. She's got a stone-skinned mate called Mr. Arrow, supposed to be the first mate. And the crew is a motley bunch by a half-robot cook, John Silver, and Jim suspects he is the cyborg that the dying pilot warned him about. However, on the ship, the captain decides to let Jim work in the galley along with John Silver, and he kind of takes him under his wing. Initially, there's a lot of hostility from the boy, but they kind of warm up. Almost becomes like a father and son relationship. There's a mutiny by the men led by John Silver, and Doppler, Amelia, and young Jim have to escape from there. They manage to get to the planet, and there's a lot of back and forth going. They meet the abandoned navigational robot Ben, voiced by Martin Short. Hilarious. This character alone is enough to make you laugh throughout the film. From the time that he's actually there, which is almost like halfway through. And basically it runs the same storyline as Treasure Island. And in the end, they're able to get back. John Silver is allowed to escape. So it's all those same stories. Jim is able to set them back, bring them back. He and there's this little creature called Morph, very funny as well. In the movie, he can it's an alien creature that can mimic anything that it sees. It can even image inanimate objects as well as living creatures. And they give him some of the treasure, and although all his other men are arrested or killed, John Silver makes his way away, hoping that they're telling him that he will definitely see Jim sometime in the future. Many years later, there's a party at the rebuilt inn. They've used the money to rebuild Sarah's inn. That's much more successful. Doppler and Amelia have gotten married and they have children of their own. And Jim has become a little bit older and more mature, and he's become an interstellar cadet. And his homecoming is what they're celebrating. And he basically looks out at the sky and sees a kind of silhouette of Silver in the clouds, and that basically ends the movie. Like I mentioned, the storyline is very similar to the Treasure Island, and this is where the movie basically follows that old storyline, so you can just remember what happens then in that story, and basically set it out in space. It's a very nicely done movie, but there's parts of it. Parts of it a little bit boring and dragging. There's a few things I wish that they had made changes to. One, I wish they had actually brought Sarah onto the ship, because I think the voice actors of missing out on Laurie Metcalf for the major part of the movie is a big loss for the movie, and I think they should have been a little bit more fireworks and a little bit more comedy stir into it. I think it would have been a much better film. Made on a budget of $140 million. It only made $109.6 million at the box office. However, I enjoyed this. I can't give it a very high score. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Martin Short's character, Ben? It's actually Benjamin, the robot, steals the scenes whenever he is on. It's okay. It's actually a pretty fine film to watch. So I wouldn't mind actually buying the DVD for this. Like I mentioned, anything above 7 and above is something that I would rewatch over and over again. And I think this will actually be good in my collection. Anything high science fiction is something near and dear to my heart. So, well, like I mentioned, I wish they had actually done a few things differently. So that's it for Treasure Planet. I'll see you again pretty soon. Good night.